Does your mind seem hardwired to focus on the negative? Scientists call this the negativity bias, and today we're going to learn how to combat it. To quote David Goggins, the same voice that says give up can also be trained to say keep going. In this video, we'll go over 5 techniques you can use to banish negativity from your life and shift to a proactive Stoic mindset. Because you don't have to let negativity win. You can use your mind to stay focused on what you can change and then make that change happen in the world. We'll start with cognitive diffusion, a powerful method to create distance between you and your thoughts. Then we'll move on to pattern interruption, a technique to break negative thought loops in their tracks. After that, we'll describe negative visualization with a twist, an ancient Stoic practice reimagined for the modern mind. We'll go into behavioral activation, because sometimes the best way to change your thoughts is to change your actions. And finally, we'll talk about mental model design, restructuring your thought patterns so they serve you and not the other way around. But before we begin, let's answer the question: when is negativity a problem? It's not wrong to say, I can't find my wallet, or I'm locked out of my house. That's not what I mean by negativity. What I mean by negativity is very opinionated negative thoughts that aren't helping you achieve your goals. Thoughts that are only causing you to feel bad and work less. These are the kinds of thoughts that would fit under the category of depression, or sometimes even apathy. Our core belief here is that we live in a world where we can improve our situation with our thoughts and with our actions. If what you're thinking goes against this, we call that negativity. As Epictetus said, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions to it. Having better reactions is what this video is about. So let's get started with our first technique, cognitive diffusion. What does that mean? Cognitive diffusion is a psychological technique that helps you step back from your thoughts and see them for what they really are. They are just thoughts, not facts or reality. The word diffusion is the opposite of fusion. It's about separating yourself from your thoughts for a moment, instead of being fused or stuck to them. Here's a few examples of how cognitive diffusion works in action. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, you learn to notice, I'm having the thought that I'm failing right now. Rather than thinking, nobody likes me, you observe, my mind is telling me nobody likes me, a very strong statement. Instead of believing, I can't handle this, you recognize, I'm noticing thoughts about not being able to handle this. Now that we know what is happening, we can tackle it. Here are some techniques you can do if you notice it's time for cognitive diffusion. You can use leaves on a stream. To do this, imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a stream, which you are watching as they pass by, going farther and farther away. You don't have to engage them. You can watch them flow while you observe. Another technique is called thank your mind. When you have a negative thought, respond with thanks for that thought to create distance. You've recognized the thought and said thank you to it. And for now, that's enough. A third technique is called name the story. You can label recurring thought patterns with labels that fit, like, there's my not good enough story again. You notice what you're doing, you give it a name, and for the moment, you loosen its grip over you. Finally, you can use the technique of creating imaginary physical distance. Imagine riding your thought on a balloon and watching it float away. It's like leaves on a stream, but you're making the physical aspect of it bigger and stronger. It's like sending the thought away, mentally, into a place of time out. You may come back to it later, but you don't need it in front of you right now. So, to recap, you can use leaves on a stream, thank your mind, name the story, and create physical distance whenever you want to use cognitive diffusion. You can do this whenever you're having intense, negative thoughts, to give yourself some breathing room to calm down and think clearly. The key insight of cognitive diffusion is that you are not your thoughts. You're the observer who can notice thoughts coming and going. This creates mental flexibility and reduces the power negativity has over you. Now, let's move on to our second technique, pattern interruption. This is a psychological method that helps you break free from negativity by switching your mental or physical state. When your mind gets stuck in a cycle of harmful thoughts, it acts like hitting a reset button on your brain. Your brain creates pathways that strengthen with repetition. When you repeatedly think negative thoughts, these pathways become well-traveled roads that your mind naturally follows. Think of it like water flowing down a hill. It naturally takes the path of least resistance. When these patterns take hold, one negative thought triggers another. So how do we break out of these patterns? One way is simple. Use the temperature. Splash cold water on your face. Take a hot shower or hold an ice cube in your hand. The sudden temperature shift jolts your nervous system out of the cycle it was in. Movement is another pattern breaker. Stand up and stretch. Break out a jump rope or simply walk to another room. Physical movement is an easy way to change the thought pattern that was present while you were still. Math or mental problems work in a similar way. If you've got 5 minutes and you're having negative thoughts, you might turn to a short, not too long game. The concentration required can make it difficult to maintain negative thoughts. Hopefully, you get the idea. The key is to create an interruption toolkit that you can access whenever you need it. Start by identifying your common negative thought patterns. Notice when they occur. Then, select a pattern interruption technique that resonates with you and is practical in those situations. It's simple, but it works. Now let's move on to our third technique, behavioral activation. Behavioral activation is based on a powerful truth. Sometimes the best way to change your thoughts isn't more thinking, it's taking action. As Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Instead of endlessly analyzing why you're feeling negative, behavioral activation encourages you to act your way into a new way of thinking. Here's how you do it. First, embrace the 2-minute rule. When negativity hits, commit to just 2 minutes of positive action. Too depressed to clean your house? Just clean for 2 minutes. Avoiding an important project? Work on it for just 2 minutes. Often you'll find yourself continuing beyond those first minutes once you've overcome the inertia of starting. Second, focus on building a positive history of action. Each small action you take creates evidence that contradicts your negative beliefs. If you think I never follow through on anything, completing even one small task provides concrete proof against that thought. Over time, these positive data points add up, making it harder to maintain its negative narratives. Third, create specific action plans for different thought types. For thoughts like, I'm not making progress, your action might be to list 3 things you've accomplished. For, I'll never be good enough, your action could be practicing a skill for 15 minutes. The key is having pre-planned responses ready when specific negative thoughts appear. Finally, track your successes to build momentum. Keep a simple log of the actions you take and how they affected your mood. This creates a visible record of your progress and helps you identify the activities which help you to feel the best. When negative thoughts tell you that nothing matters or nothing will help, behavioral activation challenges that directly with evidence. It's hard to maintain the belief that you're powerless when you're actively taking steps to improve your situation. So, to summarize, start small with the 2-minute rule. Build positive data points that contradict your negative beliefs. Create specific action plans for different thought patterns, and track your successes. This technique works because it moves you from passive to active within the context of your life. And that shift alone can be enough to break the grip of negativity and put you back on top. Our fourth technique is all about gradual improvement. It's called thought recording. The idea is simple. By examining your thoughts systematically, you can learn to separate critical thinking from unhelpful negativity. It starts with tracking your thoughts effectively. Today, we have powerful tools in our pockets that can help us do this. Apps like Mood Notes, Thought Diary, or even just a simple Notes app on your phone. The key is to write down any emotional thoughts quickly, as soon as they come to you. Once you've captured a thought, here's what to do with it. Examine the evidence both for and against. For example, if you think my presentation was a disaster, you might list evidence for I stumbled over my words, but also challenge it with evidence against my boss thanked me afterward. This approach helps you generate a balanced perspective. Instead of thinking, I'm terrible at presentations, you might conclude, I had some rough moments, but also connected with my audience, and with practice, I can improve. You keep the good critical stuff, the insights that help you improve, while throwing out the unhelpful negativity. As the Stoics understood, acknowledging reality, including its difficulties, is crucial for developing wisdom. Thought recording is about seeing situations clearly, without the distortion of excessive pessimism. So, to recap, try this approach the next time you notice a persistent negative thought. First, write it down exactly as it appears in your mind. Then, list evidence both for and against. Finally, create a more balanced alternative that accounts for all the evidence, that represents the truth of the situation better. What you'll often find is that your belief in the negative thought decreases, not because you've forced yourself to think positive, but because you've engaged with reality more fully. And that can only be a good thing. Our fifth and final technique is mental model design. While our other techniques help you work with negative thoughts as they arise, mental model design is about restructuring your environment to prevent negativity from taking hold in the first place. Think of it this way. If you wanted to eat healthier, you wouldn't just rely on willpower each time you open the fridge. You'd stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and remove temptations. The same principle applies to your mental environment. Let's start with your physical space. Your surroundings have a profound impact on your thoughts. The ancient Stoics understood this. Seneca advised carefully choosing the company we keep and the environments we live in. This could be as simple as creating a dedicated area for focused work, free from distractions. Or it could mean decluttering your living space to reduce visual chaos that can contribute to mental noise. Research shows that people who work in organized environments are able to persist longer on challenging tasks, a win that helps you overcome the circumstances that let negative thoughts arise. Next, consider your digital environment. Our devices can be gateways to either inspiration or despair. Try this. Audit your phone's home screen and social media feeds. Replace apps that trigger anxiety with tools that support reflection or learning. Set boundaries around news consumption if you find it feeds your negativity bias. Beyond your physical and digital spaces, mental model design includes creating positive thought-supporting routines. The Stoics emphasize the importance of daily practices that strengthen the mind. Marcus Aurelius began each day with journaling to set his intentions and remind himself of his values. You might establish a morning routine that includes gratitude practice or visualization of successful outcomes, or an evening routine that involves reflecting on what went well, not just what went wrong. These practices create pathways in your mind that make positive thinking more automatic over time. Finally, mental model design involves having the courage to restructure your life situations. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is to remove yourself from environments that are fundamentally misaligned with your values or growth. As Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Mental model design works because it acknowledges that humans are contextual beings. By thoughtfully shaping your environment, you're making it easier for your best self to emerge naturally. You're creating conditions where positivity becomes the path of least resistance, rather than something you have to fight for constantly. In essence, you're designing a life where Stoic resilience becomes your default setting. So start there, and then keep improving your environment to make yourself stronger. And with that, we reach our conclusion. In this video, we've explored 5 powerful Stoic techniques to overcome negativity: cognitive diffusion to create distance from unhelpful thoughts, pattern interruption to break negative mental cycles, behavioral activation to act your way into better thinking, thought recording to study your thoughts, and mental model design to create an environment that supports positive thinking. The negativity bias is powerful, but so is your ability to reshape your thoughts and reactions. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By applying these Stoic principles consistently, you can transform your relationship with negativity and build resilience that serves you in every area of life. Whether you're starting a business, changing careers, or facing any other life challenge, we hope these principles can help you find your way forward. If you wouldn't mind, please drop a comment below about your own journey with these techniques and with Stoicism in general. Your story might be exactly what another person needs to hear to start their own journey toward Stoic wisdom. Remember, like Epictetus, you have the power to transform any circumstance into an opportunity for growth. Whether you're practicing cognitive diffusion, interrupting negative patterns, activating positive behaviors, recording your thoughts, or designing mental models, every moment is a chance to strengthen your inner citadel, to turn past failures into present strength. Finally, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos about transforming life's challenges into fuel for growth. As Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher who is always worth our time, once said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." You can exercise your mind to conquer negativity if you're willing to do the work and think well. Until next time, keep building your inner strength, one Stoic technique at a time.